As the music of destiny fades away, welcome to Cranfield University on this sunny day. That was a live shot that you saw there of our lovely car park. My name is Toby Thompson. I'm the studio director here in the glorious Grenville Turner Studios. So welcome again. If you're interested in the Sustainability Business Specialist Apprenticeship, then you're in the right place. If that's not what you're expecting, you're in the wrong Zoom meeting. So welcome again. We're going to be talking about the sustainability program here at Cranfield School of Management and Cranfield University. So please, let's stay together for what I reckon will be 60 minutes, thereabouts. And that's dependent upon the questions that you have for us. This is an interactive session. We want your questions, your comments, your challenges, your observations of what we're about to show you pretty much at any time. Type them into the Zoom text chat. You know how to do that. And we'll do our best, I will do my best, to pose the questions to the amazing panel that we have coming up. More on that in a second. And if you're watching the recording, you missed an amazing live session. So we still want to have that conversation with you. So if you're watching the recording, please get in touch about this Sustainability Business Specialist Apprenticeship course. Coming up, we're going to be talking to the course director, one of the course directors for this program. So you can ask pretty much any questions around the course. We're also joined by the Deputy Director of Apprenticeships here at Cranfield, Sean, who can tell you more about the apprenticeship route onto this course and the best part of my job, 3 amazing current students on the course. So you can find out about that. Why describe a course when you can talk to the consumers of a course exactly? We know that you have a choice to study pretty much anywhere in the world, and we know you've done your homework too, but let's remind ourselves what an amazing place Cranfield University is. Welcome. Welcome again. I'm sat back down this time. You can see that same background. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy days. We know you've got a lot to do. Again, if you're watching the recording, please stick to the end because there's calls to action, an amazing panel that we're going to share with you today, chances to ask questions. Maybe first off, put in the text chat where you're based. Whereabouts are you in the world? We're keen to hear. There's a shout out for where you are in the world. And there's a reminder that we want your text chat questions throughout. Let me introduce the panel because we have an amazing set of people joining us for this session that we're together. Give us a wave, all of you, just to prove that you are live. There, look at that. There's not a robot or an AI person involved. These are all real people. Kenisha, just give us a wave. You're the course director. Have I got that right?
That's correct. Course director.
So we're going to be talking to Kenisha shortly, so who can tell you pretty much anything and everything about the course. And Sean, Deputy Head of Apprenticeships, did I get that right?
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Toby.
Fantastic. And Sandra on cohort 2 of the program, is that right?
Yep, that's right, yeah.
And Vix, which cohort are you?
Cohort 2 with Sandra.
Yay, let's hear it for cohort 2. And Alana, I think you're in a different cohort altogether.
Yes, I'm in cohort 3.
Wow, and I have to tell you, Alana, it's 5 a.m. Where Alana is, so we owe Alana a big thanks. So thank you. Guys, we're going to come back to you, but I want to start, if I can, talking to Kenisha, because there's a whole bunch of kind of opening questions around the course, which I know you're interested in. Before we go much further, Kenisha, tell us about yourself. What's your background and what do you do here at Cranfield?
Okay, Toby. Oh gosh, not an easy question to start off with, really, is it? So my name is Kenisha Garnett. I'm a senior lecturer in decision science. I've got quite an eclectic mix of expertise, Toby. I started off my life as an engineer, retrained as a social scientist, and now I'm an interdisciplinary researcher doing a lot of work around strategic foresight. I build a lot of strategic foresight tools, techniques, and I support organizations in implementing it. Really to kind of take a long-term view of sustainability and build resilience plans against a very uncertain operational environment.
So remind us again, how long has the course been running, Kenisha?
So this course has been running now since 2022, Toby. So we launched in March 2022. We're now October 2024, so just over 2 years.
And okay, so here's a question for you. Why?
Mhm.
Why this course, and why have you put it together in the way that you have?
Yes. Well, you're throwing all the difficult questions at me.
I know you can answer them.
I'm going to be crass and say possibly why breathe, but I'm going to give a much more thought out answer, Toby. We know kind of sustainability is high on the agenda for both government as well as organizations here in the UK, but also globally. As an institution, we work closely with government, we work closely with industry and with the corporate sector. We see the kind of immense aspiration of organizations to deliver green initiatives, but there is a capability challenge that we think needs to be addressed in order for organizations to meet those aspirations. So this course is filling a skills gap. It's equipping professionals, this is industry professionals, government professionals, corporate professionals, with the skills that's needed to embed sustainability into business models, but more importantly, to embed sustainability into the organization's culture. So that's what we're really passionate about, and we're working with very passionate even individuals on this course as well.
We're going to meet some of those passionate individuals. The word passionate is used a lot
Definitely.
these days, but I think that's appropriate. Just so you guys know, we have people joining from Yorkshire, from Berkshire in the UK, from
Oh, wow.
Tbilisi in Georgia. Tamar, welcome again. And we have someone from Rotterdam, but who is from Mexico. So let's call that the world. We are in the presence of the world. You've kind of touched upon it, Kenisha, but say more about what's unique about Cranfield. We have a STEM background, right? And we are applied. Say more about that.
So we're very much an applied university. We have expertise in technology as well as management. We work very closely with industry, so we identify and apply solutions, real solutions to industry that have real problems. We're quite niche in the sense that we're a postgraduate only institution that's in the middle of central Bedfordshire, so we're quite a rural campus as well. So we're unique in terms of the setting and the experience students get at Cranfield, but also unique in terms of our applied nature. A lot of our research, a lot of our teaching, which applies a lot of our research, certainly the tools and techniques that we develop with industry, we apply that in terms of how we encourage students to learn on our courses. So that's just a little bit about us. We've got this really strong focus on technology and management as an institution, and have very applied kind of skill sets.
We want to hear more about how that is applied. So Kenisha, stick around because that's hugely important. Sean, I want to ask you a question possibly next, because people logging on who want to go down the apprenticeship route are keen to hear more about it. What sort of questions can you answer, and tell us more about your role in apprenticeships?
So I manage the operation side of apprenticeships from a central viewpoint of the university. So we oversee the apprenticeships delivered in the different schools and over in MKU also. We participate in the onboarding of apprentices, working with employers, checking suitability, checking that the program's right for the individuals, through to on program, making sure that the progression is going very well, everyone is attending, having those important tripartite reviews with apprenticeship tutors and their line managers, so that accumulatively everybody is moving through their apprenticeship and it's having real meaning for them, both from a Cranfield setting but also in the organisation. We hear quite a lot that their profile is being raised as a result of their apprenticeship in their businesses, which is great to hear. And then onto the achievement end, so onto Gateway and EPA, thinking about those business proposal projects, so where they've identified issues in their own environment and chosen to address those specifically for their endpoint assessment. I realise I dropped in an acronym there.
I was about to say something. EPA, what is that?
Yeah,
Acronym
endpoint
alert.
assessment. it's a fantastic opportunity to study with Cranfield, but also to really be able to apply that in business and move your career along in that fashion. It's a great chance, and I hope many of you will join us after today.
Yeah, on that point, Sian, people who are thinking of using the apprenticeship angle, there are certain things they should be doing right now, I'm assuming. Say a bit more about that.
I would certainly speak with line managers and with the central HR or talent and development contacts within your organisation. Firstly, make sure that your company is paying into the apprenticeship levy, and then express an interest with us for this apprenticeship with those people in audience to get their buy-in, and then please do get in touch with us. My team or those based in the school and the course directors are very responsive to any inquiries that you might have in order to make that extra step from the expression of interest into making an application to study.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sian. We're going to come back to you again if I can. Kenisha, quickly, I want to come to you just to set the scene in terms of who comes on this course, and I'll come to Sandra, Vix and Alana in a second. Previously, in the cohorts that we've been running, Kenisha, is there a typical person that comes on this course, or is that impossible to say?
There isn't a typical person, unfortunately. We do have a profile of typical candidates, so maybe I could talk you through that. But just to give you a little context to that, though, Toby, what we've designed with this course is something that's quite multifaceted. We've integrated environmental science, technology, and management into a single course, which means it is quite multifaceted, and it is targeting quite a broad grouping of people. So the course is really about producing a well-rounded individual, as opposed to an individual that has a specialty in the kind of management and ability to champion a sustainability agenda, for example, with an exec team. We are also looking at that technical competency to be able to assess the kind of robust claim to, that an organization might make of being sustainable. So that technical ability to be able to back up a claim. So on the course, we have a very eclectic mix of individuals. We've got individuals that are quite technical in nature, maybe taking on quite early career roles or middle management roles. So people that assume a role such as an environmental officer or logistics officer or an environmental analyst, for example. We have a lot of middle management people that assume are in a middle management role. So kind of business and sustainability manager, for example. Or we have kind of senior or exec management sustainability managers as well. So head of investor relations, I can remember from our first cohort, head of sustainability as well in an organization who is, got quite a leadership role in terms of delivering the sustainability or leading the sustainability agenda within an organization. So those are just kind of typical kind of scale of individuals or profiles of individuals on the course.
Brilliant. So you don't have to be a scientist, or you mentioned science there, that might scare some people. I guess generally curious around the topic of sustainability, right?
Yeah, general healthy curiosity, but we're building competencies in across the board in terms of a sustainability kind of skill set. We're building core competencies around technical subjects, so the ability to assess the impact of an initiative on the environment, on broader kind of society. So life cycle thinking, life cycle applications, how to kind of monitor, do an environmental audit, how to monitor your kind of performance of a particular task or activity within the business, and then be able to report that using the appropriate reporting instruments. So technical competency, but then also thinking about you as the individual and building the kind of leadership and management acumen that's necessary to be able to champion sustainability internally with, different fractions within the organization, but also externally to the likes of consumers, but also investors.
Fantastic. You talked about the individual there. Let's come to Sandra first. Sandra, if I can talk to you about your background. Tell us a bit more about what you do, why you do it, where you do it. Say more about your role.
So if we go back to 2022, before I started the course, I was a quality manager and had been working quality management systems for several years, about 7, 8 years in the company I was at with the time, and I was looking for a change, a career change, and to sort of move more into environmental type role. Through conversation with my boss at the time, who was very supportive, he was the operations director, and he suggested looking at doing a course on sustainability. So we looked at various options regarding where we could do them. We had a little short list, and we particularly liked Cranfield because of the apprenticeship side. From a sort of personal perspective, I thought, because I work with executive senior management level people as well as people that are on within production, so it's I cross, quality covers, it's intrinsically linked in all organisations. So I thought having a master's and also the apprenticeship angle, I could use certain sort of terminology to help phrase and help engage the people I was working with. And so going back to this decision regarding Cranfield, I happened to see or attend, I think it was the webinar around about May 2022, and there was just something about that webinar that was just so engaging.
That was this webinar,
and there was
right?
just, yeah. And it was, you could just almost feel it from watching. And I thought, and I went to my boss at the time and said, "That's the course I want to do.
Get me on this course." Wow.
Yeah.
So you're doing the apprenticeship route. I got that right.
Yes,
Because I'm
that's
keen to have
correct,
you and
yes.
Sean
Yeah.
have a conversation about that. But hold that thought. Victoria, if I can come to you, because I want to hear more about your background, why you chose it. Victoria Kruger, Environmental and Sustainability Manager, Flagship Group. Say more about that, Victoria.
Yes, so hi everyone. So my background was I've worked many years in environmental consulting, so working sort of an environmental project manager. That was in South Africa, and then when I moved back to the UK, I decided I want to work in housing. So was getting to grips with the housing sector, and then started taking on net zero strategy, and then trying to embed ESG reporting. And then I realised I needed to be a bit more of a well-rounded sustainability professional to deliver the ESG agenda, and was looking for a course where I could really enhance those sort of the sustainability skill set. And actually, I have a friend who works for Cranfield who then explained about the master's apprenticeship route. And I must say, I thought I was too old to be an apprentice. I thought that was only younger people
Never
could do
too
that.
old.
So no, so that's what I found out about joining the master's apprenticeship here at Cranfield. And my role has been really evolving alongside doing the apprenticeship. So working as an environmental and sustainability manager, evolving the ESG sustainability reporting, embedding and creating our net zero strategy. I work on setting up our environmental management system, so very much looking at the compliance legislation side of environmental management, but also working on sort of embedding a culture of sustainability across the group. So really taking all the employees on that journey with me, trying to upskill different teams, seeing the part they play in becoming a more sustainable organisation. And we have got 32,000 properties across the east of England, many tenants as well. So also working with them, empowering our tenants to live a more sustainable lifestyle. So a huge variety of work streams going on at the moment. But the course has just been invaluable, not just from the knowledge and expertise side it's given me, but really developing my influencing and leadership skills as well has been really, really positive.
I was about to say, Victoria, it sounds like people are looking to you for direction and you're looking to the course for direction. It's kind of hand to mouth.
Yes.
It's kind of good, right?
Yeah, and the network of colleagues I've built from doing the course has been amazing, because there's always an expert to go and bounce ideas off of, and then obviously we've connected very nicely in our cohort and also with other cohorts as well. So there's such a wide variety of sectors involved and expertise that there's always someone to bounce ideas off for, and yeah, just to have other people to talk to has been amazing.
Wow, talking about bouncing sectors. Thank you, Vix. Alana, can I come to you? Different sector altogether. Can you introduce yourself and tell us more about what you do?
Sure. My name is Alana Acqui. I'm the senior manager for decarbonization and sustainability at Votorantim Cementos North America. So in this role, I'm responsible for driving all of the programs and internal and external engagement as we move towards our 2030 sustainability targets. So Votorantim Cementos is a global vertically integrated aggregate cement and concrete company. And so globally, we've set these targets. It's a hard to abate sector. So a big component of the targets is how do we decarbonize cement and concrete? And then we also have other sustainability targets that are shaped around the Sustainable Development Goals and GRI requirements. So it's a very diverse role, and no one day is the same. Everything is changing all of the time. But at the time that I found the Cranfield program, I was sort of transitioning to this kind of internal change leader role from consulting. So I was in a consulting role before, where I led projects still in heavy industry, focused on operational risk management. We did some sustainability strategy work and of course environmental management. But at the time that I was transitioning, I felt I wanted to obtain a qualification, right? Just kind of for myself. And so in the quest for a program, I basically had three requirements, right? One was, I'm based in Toronto in Canada, and there are programs here, yes, but I wanted to challenge myself on a program where I would have more of a global cohort, right? Where I would be exposed to the, different cultures and different ways of thinking. So that was number one. Number two, I really wanted a program that was blending the technical aspects of sustainability with the business and strategy side. So as a project leader in consulting, you're always kind of balancing that, right? Going really deep down into the details, but then also being able to have high level strategic conversations. So I was living that for a long time. And I really, if I was going to pursue a course, I needed something that was also going to reflect that. And then the third piece, I'm not so young, but I do have a young family, and I have a demanding job. So I needed something that was going to be flexible enough. I couldn't be going on a course where I had to be there every weekend, for a month or something like that, every month. So I needed something that was virtual, but also that gave some, face-to-face interaction. And so as I was looking, and I looked globally, right? So I approached it like a project, and I did a global search. And then when I found this program, it was kind of late actually when I applied, and I sent Kenisha a frantic email, I need to talk to you. And so it was just a really good fit. Like the program just, checked all the boxes for me.
Wow, we are your new best friend. You are our new best friend. We love you saying that. Kenisha, can I come to you? Because what Alana just said there was around the delivery. We're keen to hear a little bit more about how is this program delivered?
Okay, I know I'm still smiling with that
Yeah,
because
me too.
Alana, I remember that email and it was, yes, how does this work? I'm based in Toronto, Canada. Can I do this? And it was, yes, you can.
Wow.
And she is. So this is a 2.5-year course, and it is part-time, and it's primarily delivered online through the medium in which we're speaking today. So directed through the studio and with you, Toby, as a co-host on all of our modules. But we do have an annual residential because we think with an online course, there is still a need for physical contact and for people to make connections and create lasting relationships during the course, but also beyond the course. So we have this pivotal kind of capstone event, which is our residential school, where learners come together on Cranfield campus. They get to experience this rural, fantastic campus that we have. At Cranfield, and they get to meet their cohort. So we start off with a residential, and students kind of end the kind of 2.5-year period with a final residential, which is the beginning of the third year. And it's an opportunity, as I said, to really engage, kind of create those kind of long-lasting relationships with their peers, but also to meet with faculty as well and to build connections. We've had some fantastic things happening out of the residentials, where little mini projects are starting to corral and to be developed. But I'll say a little bit more maybe about how the course of itself is structured, Toby, if I may.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
And if I have some time. So as I said, it's over 2.5 years. The first 2 years comprise of the taught component of the course. So that's 14 modules delivered over the first 2 years. Now, whenever I'm speaking to an organization, I'm always a bit cautious about saying we have 14 modules, because I know it sounds really, really daunting. But Sandra, Alana, Victoria are here to really tell you how that's going.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed they don't confirm that it is really daunting, but candid views are shared here, Toby, so we're open to everything.
Yes.
So each module runs over a period of 7 weeks, and how that works is that we have what we call asynchronous and synchronous learning. So we have our first, the module starts off with a bit of preparatory work where students are set the kind of aims, objectives of the module. They're introduced to some of the content. They may have to do some pre-reading, pre-activities as a group or as an individual. And that's just really to sensitize them and orient them to what's coming up in that module. So that's that preparation week. We call that week naught. And then we move into our kind of alternative kind of bi-weekly delivery. So we have live online sessions that happen every Friday, but they happen on alternative Friday. So those live direct sessions, live online sessions, is directed by a module lead, working with yourself and David as co-host, Toby.
Mm-hmm.
And during the live sessions, it's very much tutor-led. The tutor introduces often sustainability tools, concepts, frameworks. And then that's followed by the self-directed learning week, which is the following Friday. And this is where students either work individually, but often in groups as well. And this is the assimilation week almost. This is where you start to apply those tools, those concepts, those frameworks, those models. And we ask that those models are considered, the application of them are considered in line with kind of challenges that arise at work. So this is very important for the apprentices, but also thinking about just general practice more broadly across sectors or specific to a type of organization. So we provide scenarios. So this is to support often our self-directed, our self-funders or our non-apprentices, but also it gives apprentices another option as well if they're dealing with quite commercially sensitive information and don't necessarily want to use the data from the organization. There is a means of dealing with a scenario, but then thinking about application in a much more personalized way, and that can be captured through things like the portfolio that an apprentice produces. So that's the arrangement of kind of learning over the 7 weeks. So the teaching actually happens over the first 3 weeks. So we have 3 live online learning sessions, which is led by the module lead. And then we have in between that, we have 2 self-directed learning weeks, which is led by the apprentice or led by the learner, I should say. And then there is 3 weeks after the end of the final live online learning session, which is generally just a half a day. The first 2 live sessions are full days, 9 to 5:30. The third live day is generally, we have a few exceptions with modules that are quite bespoke. The final live session is a half a day, so 9 to about 1 o'clock in the day. And then candidates, learners, professionals have about 3 weeks to complete an assignment that is primarily about a work-based scenario or a work-based task.
Brilliant.
So that's how learning happens, Toby.
I'm keen to hear from, I think, Sandra, first of all. Sandra, what Kenisha's just said there, can you talk us through your 7 weeks? How is that for you? What's it like?
variable depending on the module, I guess, because some of them, as Kenisha said, about a lot of the pre-work, and depending on what I already knew beforehand, there might be more to do or less to do. But it was really good. The structure on a Friday, I must admit, I thought I would struggle with a full day on a Friday, having never in my working life had to work a full day on a Friday. So, but it was very simple. The learning experience online as well was surprisingly pleasant. And they're also very engaging sessions as well. So it's not just all about lectures. When you bring in the interactive element and the working groups and the breakout groups, it gave us a chance to have a little bit of a break, to just not be staring at the screen. And they're organised in such a way that you always know when your breaks are as well. So, you know, walking away from that screen and making sure that you have a break or something different so you can decompress. And they were almost all, with the exception of Kenisha, I'm allowed to say that, most of them normally finished on time as well.
There's a bit of feedback, Kenisha. Sandra, that's fantastic.
Ouch.
Thank you for being so honest. Vix, I want to talk to you about the same thing. How is your 7 weeks? Do they compare with Sandra's?
I think I can echo what Sandra's saying. Yeah, I think because there are a lot of modules and it is quite a quick turnaround on each module. It's quite fast paced. The momentum just keeps going. So Fridays are very interactive, I think, which helps. The online setup is so professionally done. It's not just like a standard Zoom or Teams call. I think having that studio set up and with yourselves co-facilitating that just makes it, the day just flies by, really. So it's yeah, it was an eye-opener, because you think you will struggle with the whole day online, but actually it's worked so well, and we miss them now. We've finished ours. We miss our Fridays.
We miss you too. Alana, can I come to you? Alana, do you find yourself working in the evenings and at weekends and putting extra hours in, or can you cram everything into the Friday?
Well, because I'm on the non-apprenticeship route, I don't necessarily have, you know, a block of time that's other than the live day sessions, right? So what I did, and the course is really well planned from that regard, right? So at the beginning of the year, they give you the calendar for the whole year. So I know which Fridays I block out my time, my work calendar, so people know not to book meetings for me during the live sessions. So that's blocked out for the whole year. So that is protected time for me. In terms of the additional work, I have to fit that in, you know, during other times. So what has worked for me, which may not work for others, I am in Canada, and I do get up at 4 a.m. for the sessions. Yeah. So I've sort of adjusted my whole cycle. So I would find that I wake up early like that on other days in the week to do some of that prep work and individual preparation. You know, the full day on Zoom, or well, for me, it's not a full day, it's like 8 hours on Zoom, is, you know, it can be daunting at first, but, you know, as the others have said, it's a well-planned day. Okay, so it's planned with, you know, at the start of the day what you're going to be accomplishing, what you're going to be looking at, when your breaks are, when your discussions are, your group discussions. I think it's really great how the course, on the live days, you have planned group discussions as well. That tends to break up the time. But in terms of what happens outside of that, it's really up to my own time management, how I manage that.
Well, you do a good job by the sound of it. Thank you all for those endorsements there. Sian, can I come to you next? In terms of the apprenticeship route that Sandra and Vix are taking, and Alana's obviously a student there, what extra is involved? It sounded like you were talking about a lot of extra work on top of what it is that you're already studying.
There will be another element to it in terms of bringing evidence of what you're doing in the workplace to aligned with the sustainability business specialists' knowledge, skills and behaviours. So there's these different 3 sets of competencies that you'll need to demonstrate as you go through the apprenticeship, and then it's invested into a work-based project, which is... go on, Toby.
No, sorry, it's not as if you're doing 2 qualifications. You're doing the same qualification.
It is. This one is an integrated apprenticeship. So you would do the on-programme modules, and then you'll move through Gateway onto your work-based project, which is akin to the 60 credits, which is Similar to what we've termed previously a thesis component. So then when you finish both of those, you have your endpoint assessment and you achieve your Sustainability Business Specialist and also the MSc in Sustainability. So both are interwoven, and you can't have one without the other for the apprentices.
And Sian, what sort of support are we providing for those apprenticeship students?
Yeah, so Cranfield have an excellent team of apprenticeship tutors, and each apprentice has a personal apprenticeship tutor that they meet with on a one-to-one basis, and they also conduct the tripartite reviews, which are a type of quarterly meeting with the apprentice, the tutor and the line manager, and it's a really fantastic opportunity to see the development of the apprentice from a Cranfield perspective, but also have that buy-in from the line manager to recognise the performance improvements and also areas for further growth as they go through, and have those documented for all to see using a specific platform, Matas Hub, that we use here as they go through.
Thank you. And I want Sandra to kind of follow on from that. Sandra, what is your experience like of that apprenticeship route through this course?
Well, if I may speak about the support from my tutor as a starting point, absolutely phenomenal. I remember at the start of the course being told your tutor will become your best friend, and I think that did definitely remain true. Within my organisation, we've gone through a lot of changes, and I've had several work supervisors as part of the apprenticeship, but the one constant has always been Mark as my tutor, and he kept me sane, he kept me going, and absolutely brilliant. So the apprenticeship side does involve very structured documentation, but there are extra documentation work that is involved with, the form completion and doing the tripartite reviews and documenting your hours, and then also providing evidence for the knowledge, skills and behaviours that you learn as you go along. And it can appear quite daunting because it seems like quite a lot, but when you actually sit down and do it and map it all out and put it into context of the work you are doing within the organisation, it was really quite motivating and very confidence boosting, because you can see that actually, I thought maybe I couldn't provide any evidence for that particular skill, but no, here we have something, and it links in with this other piece of work that I've been doing. So it has been very confidence building in that respect as well.
That's good to hear. So it sounded like if you were left on your own, it would have been more daunting, but because you've got someone helping you, it really isn't that bad.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. Figuratively speaking, holding my hand every step of the way, and just talking, saying, and just helping when I was struggling or where I needed a little bit more of a sort of kick up the backside. It worked well.
Speaking of which, Vix, what's your experience been? Vix, have you been wanting a kick up the backside? How was your relationship with your tutor?
My tutor's been amazing, actually. It just amazed me how much time that she put into helping me out at the end to build my portfolio. She was on hand at 6-7 o'clock in the evening some evenings to get it done. So yeah, the support's been phenomenal, I have to say. I'm really pleased that I've gone the apprenticeship route. Obviously, from a financial perspective, having your company pay for it has been a bonus, but also to sort of strategically align yourself to a senior member of the organisation. I was lucky to secure my deputy chief exec as my mentor, so it's a really good way to showcase the work I've been doing and get that support from senior leadership to further embed all my projects and learning across the group.
Vix, thank you very much. Alana, VCNA, your company, are they helping you actively in this one? Do they have conditions? You've got to learn this, this, and this, or did this leave you to it?
No, they just lead me to it. So this was my choice. This was a personal choice to take this program. And, they're sensitive, of course, to it with the time commitment and all of that. And so while I'm not on the apprenticeship route where I have to really look at those KSBs in detail, they are defined for each module. The competencies are defined for each module. So, and it's shared at the start, right? So you can kind of see yourself working through it. The approach I've taken is I've engaged my boss in basically talking about the modules as I go through. So it's not as formalized an approach, I guess, as the on the apprenticeship route. But it's similar. I have conversations. It's just not formal and written, but it's because I was looking for an applied program. I'm not just off, studying something by myself. It's something that I am bringing to work every day.
So even if you're not apprenticeship route, I guess you'd follow Sean's advice. Talk to your employer, talk to your line manager,
Yes,
find out what it is that they want.
absolutely.
Brilliant, thank
Yeah.
you. Kanisha, can I come back to you? Because there's a question in the chat here around size of cohorts. It's been answered already, but just say more about
Yes.
the size of cohorts.
Sure. So we have 2 intakes a year, Toby, one in March and one in September. And for some reason, and we think it's because the way the financial year is planned for most organizations, our March cohort seems to be the larger cohort. So we have between 40 to 50 candidates usually on our March cohort. And our September cohort is a bit smaller, usually about 20 people on our September cohort. So that's a more small niche cohort compared to the larger cohort in March.
And Sandra, that cohort that Kanisha was talking about there, I presume you can just ask them any questions at any time. You're in the so-and-so sector. How do you do such and such?
Oh, absolutely. They're always there for us. We have various WhatsApp groups, and anytime anyone has a question or has some advice or stumbles across something that might be interesting to us, it gets shared in there, and then there we can have interactive discussions on it. And they're always at hand. Key people to just even have a chat with them online. Struggling with an assignment, they're there to help.
So you can learn as much from each other as you do from the likes of Kanisha and the rest of the faculty.
As much as, well, yeah. Let's put them in equal terms.
Well,
yeah,
a more practical, maybe a different angle, and certainly more resources,
yes, definitely.
perhaps. Brilliant. Kanisha, there's a question, and this is from Kareem. Kareem, thank you for your question. Is the apprenticeship accessible to SMEs that do not pay the apprenticeship levy? And maybe Sean, you also want to answer that too.
We do
Yes.
have a co-investment ability, so get in touch with us. It's where your company would be obliged to pay 5% of the levy costs, and then there's a co-investment that will take up the 95%. So there is a way of doing it. I think we've only got a limited amount of those that we can offer, but I would need to check the detail for you, Karim. But do get in touch if you're interested, and we can certainly explore that with you from Apprenticeship Office. Once we know more about the organisation, we'll be able to define it for you.
Sean, thank you. A question from
Just to add to that,
go on. Go ahead.
Yes,
go ahead.
just to add to that, Toby. So for companies that are eligible for the levy drawdown, but are still quite small as an organisation, or maybe non-profit, we do offer, because there is a top-up fee associated with this apprenticeship. It doesn't, the course fee doesn't equate with the apprenticeship levy, but we offer reductions in that top-up fee for non-profit organizations, or organizations perhaps sending several candidates. So there is, even if you are a small organization and you are levy paying, there is a reduction that can be negotiated.
Brilliant. Kareem, let's carry on that conversation. We want to hear more from you. Question from Issy, and Rosina Borelli, thank you for answering that question in the text chat, but I'm going to ask it anyway of Kanisha. Issy's asking, how much of the course covers the social aspects of sustainability? I see that the course offers many environmental qualifications. Say more about that, Kanisha.
So we've got 14 modules, as Kareem might have seen on our website, our course website. We have one particular module, which is social entrepreneurship. And coincidentally, I was speaking to Victoria about that just recently, and she was talking about how useful it is for her work. So maybe you could follow up by asking Victoria about that story. And that is a real kind of lens-in view on the social aspect. And it's really dealt with through module 13. So you might say, oh my God, but that's really late down the line. There is an aspect of social. I mean, environmental sustainability is measured across a triple bottom line, if you like. So environment, society, as well as the economy. So that is something that's laced through all of our modules. And obviously there's an emphasis on one of those kind of impact measures or the other across the different modules. But we do try to keep it as balanced as we can. across the modules, but with some modules taking a specific focus around an element of the triple bottom line. Module 13 specifically deals with the social aspects, but social entrepreneurship. Module 4, which is very much about sustainability environmental assessment, has a closer look at typical tools to do a more holistic assessment of sustainability, such as life cycle thinking. And embedded there is social impact analysis or social impact assessments. And there again, we consider tools that are appropriate to managing or assessing the impact of an organization's activity on the community or society in general.
So Vix, I'm going to say module 13, unlucky for some. How was that for you, if you can remember it? What do we mean by social? How has that helped you?
That's, for me, obviously, I look a lot at the environmental aspects, but actually sort of weaving in the social impact element is been really key. So what I've been working on is a waste management project and looking at how we can partner more with social enterprises on that. So we're delivering a better environmental footprint whilst also uplifting local community members as well. So it's been a great module, and it was yesterday in a meeting I realised how much I'd learned from that and how much I can apply it to this project.
That's good to hear. Alana, can I ask you a question? Were there any surprises in the course so far for you? Were there something that you thought you didn't know or weren't interested in and suddenly got interested? Any surprises?
That's a loaded question, Toby. I think, it's been a whirlwind, right? Like all of the different courses. I don't think there's been a lot of surprise, right? Because like I said, I'm sort of a more mature student, right? So on a lot of things I've had some exposure to and experience with. I would say that actually Kenisha's module, the strategic foresight module, which I'm preparing the assessment, my assignment for right now, I think that one, it really stretched my thinking, probably more than a lot of the other ones. And I was surprised by that because I thought, I'm pretty strategic already. But I learned a lot on that one. I think that was probably one of the biggest surprises for me. I'm just getting going now on the social entrepreneurship module, and already it's telling me I didn't know anything about social entrepreneurship.
But you're still here, you're still with us. That's fantastic. Kenisha, can I come back to you on what Alana just said there about assignments and assessments? Can you say more about that? Is it an exam every time? What sort of assessments are we looking at?
So we have our 14 modules, which we class has continuously assessed. And what that means is there is no final kind of formalized exam that students sit in a virtual room that is invigilated. So none of that. We're all about testing knowledge by looking at how people apply the tools, the frameworks, the learning back into the work environment, Toby. So a lot of our assessments are kind of set activities or tasks where we encourage students to think about the application of tools, concepts back into the work environment. So for apprentices, often we strongly encourage thinking about how you apply the learning back into your organization. So thinking about challenges that come up that is specific to your own role. For our self-learners, we say do that as well. You see Alana here, who is a self-funded student, but is in an organization and is equally applying the learning. She just happens to be in a different route. So we say use your organization as a real test case and a test bed to apply a lot of this knowledge. But where that's not possible, we offer scenarios as well. So just Alana's made reference to the strategic foresight assignment. I've given individuals 2 roles. So think about, they're all building scenarios, thinking about the world in 2050 and what it looks like. Will it be as sustainable as we imagine it today? And we're kind of honing in on plastics and what our activities, how our activities is affecting plastic use. And what they're doing is kind of, with these scenarios that kind of paint a picture for 2050, they're considering what the implications of their own, as an organization, their own organizational targets or goals around more sustainable use of materials. How's that particular organizational kind of target or goal faring in that distinct future? And if it's a little bit removed from your own organization, then you assume a role as an NGO or as just a typical organization in a specific sector. Plastic is such a wide and kind of applicable material across many sectors. So you position yourself in the sector, you think about what the impact could be to an organization in that sector. So just to give you a bit of an example, there are varied examples across the 14 modules.
Brilliant. Thanks for that deeper dive. And Emma, you got a question, and sorry about Zoom mangling your name there. Emma's got a question, and possibly Kenisha and Sean, you might be able to answer this one. Does the course automatically qualify us for practitioner chartership with IEMA, or do we still have to do an application with them or an exam? I'm going to go to Kenisha.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Toby. So the apprenticeship standard has been mapped against IEMA competency requirements for the practitioner level membership. So on successful completion of the course, the students automatically are eligible for a practitioner level membership at IEMA. And I know we're using an acronym here, so following through on Sean's trend, IEMA is the professional body for sustainability in the UK, but they have a global reach. So their membership, they have a global membership as well. And it's the Institute of Environmental Management and Assessment. Don't quote me on that. I think, and I hope, if IEMA is looking and I butchered that, apologies, hand and heart.
It sounded good.
But I think that's that's the acronym spelled out.
Brilliant, thank you, and Emma, thank you for the question. Sandra, can I come to you?
Sorry, Toby, I should extend that a little bit. Apologies, Toby.
Go on.
So yes, at minimum, on completion of the course, you're eligible for practitioner level membership, but we recognize that students coming in have a wealth of experience. Some have been working in the sustainability role for 20 odd years. So IEMA is going to, on an individual basis, assess the kind of experience of an individual. So it might be that you are eligible for the higher level of membership status, which is the chartered environmentalist kind of membership role as well. So on an individual basis, students can be assessed. So their qualifications, etc. No need for an examination in that capacity, I don't think. But certainly, if you have enough experience and enough kind of work, kind of examples to demonstrate that experience, then you can be awarded chartered environmental status as well.
Brilliant. Kenisha, thank you. And Emma, if you've got any queries on that one, come back to us. Sandra, can I put you back in the shoes you were in 2 years ago? What advice would you give to people just thinking of doing this course?
Go for it, just do it. You'll be a better person for it. Yeah, when I think back then how I was, on a personal level, with sort of knowledge and everything aside, because that's all been learned and taught as I've gone along. My confidence has just gone, improved immensely. It's been a great experience for me. My company has benefited, everyone around me has benefited. Some of them might actually say I speak about peat bogs too much now, but I don't know that I learned that directly on the course, yes. But just do it. And Cranfield is a brilliant place to learn, and yeah.
Wow, that's an endorsement again. Vic, can I come to you? Family and life outside of study. How do you fit all that in?
It's juggling act. I'm a single parent, so you make it work because if you're on this course, I think you've got a passion for sustainability. You're applying it day to day, and it just becomes a part of life, and you'll do anything to get it done. So you just make it work, and you have a good support network around you, and yeah. And
you just make it sound so easy. You just make it work.
Just
do that.
You just got to. If you want something bad enough, you make it work. So,
you do it. You do it. And Alana, remind us again
Doing
of those criteria that you had on finding a course. If people are thinking, you know what, I can do this one, I found this really good one, the criteria that you used, remind us again of that.
Yeah, so I guess the first piece was that I wanted, because you know what, before I found this one, I did a number of, they have these short-term certificate programs. And what I found is they were either very focused on business or very focused on a technical aspect and really high level. So to get a qualification like this, I wanted something that was going to blend those two pieces, right? So to be able to say that, yes, I'm an expert on, let's say, life cycle assessment or whatever, but at the same time being able to make a business case and talk with executives about sustainability, the business case for sustainability. So that was the first thing. The second thing is I wanted, as a consultant, I worked globally, right? So always based in North America, but on global projects. I even had actually wasn't always in North America. I did live for 3 years in London. So I have this taste for international, global stuff. So I did want a program where I wasn't going to be in a cohort and my fellow students were also Canadian, all of them. I wanted a different experience. And then the third piece, having a young family, I'm in a fairly senior role, so I already work 10, 12 hours a day. I needed something that was flexible, right? Certainly in this course, when I reflect back, I didn't know that I had the kind of grit that I have now. I mean, consulting
You
is
found it.
demanding. Yeah, you may have your 12-hour, but there's nothing like this, right? So you develop an ability to know for yourself that you can push beyond the limits that you'd set for yourself before, right? So so the course really checked all of those boxes for me and developed me in other ways that I didn't think was possible.
Alana, you're an inspiration. You're a true inspiration. Wow. Sean, can I come back to you? We've only got a few minutes left. People thinking of coming down the apprenticeship route, what should they be doing right now?
Oh, they should be getting in touch with us. Get in touch with us directly or have a look on our website for this programme. There'll be some links further down that you can use to get in touch, and we'll be able to pick up the thread with you and see what it is that interests you and how we can help with all of your inquiries.
Brilliant. And Kenisha, on the same vein, what sort of preparation should people be doing? Reading thousands of books? Or what? No, I can tell from that face that's a no. What should people be doing right now?
No, no, not reading 1,000 books isn't necessarily what's required to come onto this course, to join us here at Cranfield. I think what we ask for is a healthy dose of passion, and you heard it mentioned with our current cohort. We can take care of the rest. It's that passion that really translates into real learning on this course, because people are open to adopting different tools, looking at sustainability through different lenses, trying to understand the real impact that you can have in an organization. Part of that is the material impact, but the other part is the kind of softer benefits of a more sustainable organization, and understanding that culture that can be nurtured, and the kind of experience and the gratifying experience of nurturing that culture within the organization as well. So there is that kind of notion to be learned, but I think a lot of our learners come in with that already, and it's just about how they champion that across the organization so that that culture can blossom and create an organization that's really, really geared up to delivering on some of their aspirations and ambitions in this space.
And Kenisha, one last question in the minute that we have.
Yeah.
Those that are fairly new to coming back to study after maybe a long break, what advice would you give?
Really good question. Sometimes you just gotta jump in there. So don't be too hesitant about it. What we tend to do, we recognize that we're going to be presented with individuals at different spectrums of learning. So some having had qualifications, dare I say it, 30 plus years ago. Not mentioning anything about age, so I'm safe. So once that's the case, we tend to have very introductory modules, which talk about, introduce things such as, and we tend to embed a lot of this in the first residential, which is just, reacquainting people with things such as academic writing, how to do a search through an academic database, for example, to identify relevant articles to underpin, to evidence an argument. We support you in terms of putting you in very mixed learning groups. So somebody who's been away from academia will be in a learning group with someone who is have less distance, and is very kind of clued up on some of the kind of traditions of academia. And that cross-fertilization of learning that happens in learning teams is phenomenal. So we impart our fair bit of knowledge, but that learning that happens at a peer level is really important for things such as this. And I'm going to shut up, Toby.
Sorry, no, we have run
I know
out of
we've
time.
less
We've
than a minute.
overshot by 30 seconds, so apologies. It's been fantastic talking to you. Sandra,
Okay.
especially thank you for coming up from where you've been. Victoria, thank you for joining us. And Alana, what can we say? 6 a.m., you're still with us. Thank you, it's been a joy hearing from you. Sean, likewise, thank you for joining us, and hopefully see you again soon in the studio. Kenisha, you're amazing too. Goes without saying, we want to see you. We clearly want to see you. You're going to see me if you join the course. So we can't wait for that to happen. Hopefully it's been useful for you. The studio managers today were Robin Hackett and Marco Gomez. The producer was Sophie Smiley. My name is Toby Thompson. Thank you for watching.